Hey, welcome back, guys, to the channel. We're continuing our Succeeding with Stoicism series for the channel. And I figured for this series that I was going to make a video on the 4 virtues or 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. These are some of what I would call the guiding elements, the guiding principles of the philosophy. Since with our first video for the philosophy, titled What is Stoicism, which will have in one of the corners of the video popping up here, I figured that since we're starting this deep dive, we go just a little deeper in this video and talk about the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism, what really comprise the philosophy. And I've got my little Stoic cheat sheet here, this note card that I have the virtues on. They're fairly easy to remember, but I really want to expand upon them. So the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism are wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. I'm going to break these down. These are, fairly simple concepts to us on the surface, but I'm going to break these down, and especially in the context of the philosophy and what they mean to me. So the first cardinal virtue of Stoicism is wisdom, and I have in the definition that I think fits it well, particularly in the context of the philosophy, is wisdom is navigating complex situations in a logical, informed, and calm manner. Wisdom, I think you could say, I wouldn't say any of these are more important than another, but perhaps there's an argument to be made that wisdom is the cornerstone, the foundational virtue that underpins all of the other virtues of the philosophy, all the other cardinal virtues. I'll read the definition again. Navigating complex situations in a logical, informed, and calm manner. What this reminds me of is how the Stoics view, how would you say, the makeup of the universe, or how the universe operates. And the Stoics generally believe, if you really do some deep research on them, which we will moving on with this series, the Stoics generally believe that the universe, the cosmos, operated in a very rational cause and effect kind of way. And I'm trying to simplify this. And again, I'm no expert of the philosophy, but from what I have read and watched over these short years that I have been interested in studying the philosophy, Stoics seem to, as I said, view not just the universe, but really the operation of life itself, of nature, of the universe, of life itself, in a very rational kind of composition, kind of makeup. So this reminds me of, if a Stoic views it that way, then he or she would probably also think, well, if I'm a creature in this universe that is rational and orderly and operates in a certain way, then I should conduct myself in the same manner, since I am a part of this universe. And that's how I would best fit and work well in this situation that's been created by whoever, whatever is out there. So to navigate complex situations in a logical, informed, and calm manner. That is, at least in a small part, what wisdom is. Wisdom is all about learning from your experiences, learning from your past mistakes, and making the choice to be better because of it. And hopefully, if you're trying to be a good person, then part of that is also, you're not only learning from your past mistakes and learning from the things you've learned in your life and life lessons, but also passing those on, turning those into lessons that you can teach other people. And that's what wisdom is. And I actually have here on the card, I've underlined the word calm here, because that's an important part of Stoicism. I'm going to talk about that more throughout the series, and you'll hear it and read about it as well as you're doing research on Stoicism and learning about the philosophy, that the Stoics would absolutely advocate for anyone trying to practice the philosophy to also practice sort of calm tranquility throughout life, especially in chaotic and stressful situations. Because when people think of Stoicism or what it means to be Stoic, people generally seem to think of Spartans or soldiers. They think of people, men and women who have no emotions. Not just show no emotions, but have no emotions at all. That's not what Stoicism is. At least that's not what I view it to be. And I don't think that the ancient Stoics, the founding fathers of Stoicism, would agree with that as well. But being calm and present in the moment, keeping a level head, is definitely an important part of the philosophy. And that really underpins a lot of how we can conduct ourselves within this philosophy, staying calm. So all these bundle into the first cardinal virtue of Stoicism, wisdom. Learning from your experiences, making decisions in a logical and informed way, having informed decisions and opinions, behaving logically and rationally, and most importantly, being calm. When you can stay calm, you can make informed decisions and have informed opinions. When you are calm, anger does not get the upper hand because you learn how to control it and rein it in. How to use it as a tool, but also to rein it in so it doesn't consume you. Very important. The second cardinal virtue of Stoicism is temperance. And the definition I have under temperance is self-restraint and moderation in everything that we do and say and think. I would add on to my own definition here. Self-restraint and moderation in everything. I think that's an important part of Stoicism. Obviously, it's a cardinal virtue. I think we are taught throughout our lives of the importance of everyone always says everything in moderation. And I think another word for temperance here would be discipline, self-discipline. Self-restraint and moderation, that's all about discipline. I would say temperance is about learning how to master yourself. A big part of Stoicism is dividing your life, and I may have said this in the previous video, dividing your life into two parts, into what you can and what you can't control. And for everything, there are a lot of things in life that we do not have control over. We don't have control over the weather. We don't have control over other people. There's so much that we are not in control of. But there's also a lot that we are in control of, because we are in control of ourselves. And you may not think that's a lot, and I would disagree, because we're very complex creatures. And we are in control of what we think, what we say, and what we do. And that causes ripples, in life. And our actions and our words can impact people's lives in very deep, profound ways. And there are implications carried with everything that we do in life. So temperance, or self-mastery, I would call it, is very important in the context of Stoicism when we're thinking about what we do and don't have control over. And if it's true that we do have control over ourselves, which I believe we do, then I would also say that it's important and very helpful to learn how to master ourselves. Maybe we don't have control or mastery over everything in life, everything external. Well, we certainly can, and if we work at it, do have control or mastery over ourselves. We don't have control over everything that happens in our lives, but we always have control over how we choose to feel about things, how we choose to respond to things, how we choose to adapt to things if we choose to do so, how we choose to learn from events in our life if we choose to do so. These are all choices, and it all stems from temperance or self-mastery. If we can learn to master ourselves, it can greatly help us in life. Everyone knows that discipline is very helpful, also very hard to develop and hone and practice in your life. The third cardinal virtue of Stoicism is justice. And then my definition I have here is being fair in judgment, punishment, etc., and so on. Being fair in judgment, in punishment, etc. When I think about that, is the judgment part is something that I really hang on, and that definition of justice. In today's world, especially with social media, and I think I talk about social media a lot on the channel for good reason. I think in today's world with social media, it's even easier to judge people because it's even easier to post, to put yourself out there, like what I'm doing with this video right now. By me putting these videos out, I am of course opening myself up to the potential for people to judge me and to criticize me, and even do so in the comments, and maybe I read some nasty comments. You open yourself up to that by doing that, of course. If you don't participate in social media, then you don't. And even if you do, it's not like anyone's telling you have to post content, right? But I'm choosing to, and I'm opening myself up to that. And when I think of this, I think that because it's easier than ever today to broadcast ourselves and to show the world who we are and what we're interested in, our hobbies, and for some people get very personal, right? Like on YouTube with people's vlog channels and all the stuff people choose to share on Facebook and all these platforms. Because everything's so readily available, and because our lives can, and often a lot of people do, put so much of themselves and their personal lives and their activities and everything and interests online, it's very easy for us to judge them because it's all laid out before us. But I think back to that verse in the Bible, and I'm not well versed in the Bible, but I know a few key phrases or verses that a lot of people paraphrase from time to time. And I'll go ahead and paraphrase one right now. I believe how it goes is, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And do we do that a lot today in this day and age of social media? I don't see that happening a lot. Someone puts out one post on Twitter, and if it's something that people disagree with, they are just destroyed. They're just destroyed on Twitter without knowing anything about the person, or maybe without even doing any prior research and looking up any of the other posts, or maybe trying to get proper context of the post. There's so much research, there's so much effort that people could undergo that they don't. It's right to judgment, instant judgment. Everyone picks up their stones and hurls it at the person without taking a look inwards and seeing and reminding themselves that, oh, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Sometimes I say things that I don't really mean, or I say stupid things, People often in life take they get on their moral high horse and you could say declare themselves like the ultimate judge of everyone else's behaviors, right? And how everyone else conducts themselves morally, ethically. And so justice, the third cardinal virtue of Stoicism, it serves as a reminder for me that we're not perfect, and that I don't think it's right or fair for us to declare ourselves the judges, which is what we're doing, even if we're not explicitly saying so. When we're sending out these nasty posts and comments, on social media, actions speak louder than words. So that is, your actions do prove that you do, in a way, believe that, even if it is implicit. It is implicit in your actions. So being fair in judgment and in punishment, I think that's what justice is about. It's about looking inward and trying to treat people fairly, to punish those and give them the punishments that they deserve, but also to know when and how to show mercy to others. And most importantly, to remind yourself that you are not perfect, that you have your own flaws and errors. And maybe sometimes the best thing to do is to keep quiet instead of passing judgment about things that you may not be so qualified to pass judgment on, right? And the last cardinal virtue of the four cardinal virtues of Stoicism is courage. Courage, big and small. Courage in both big and small events in life. And I have some other examples here. Having the courage to play the part of the fool. Having the courage to serve justice, like we talked about in number 3. To serve it when it is right to do so. Having the courage to tell the truth and to be honest, etc. Those are some big things. I talk about big and small because I don't mean just in big, very, very profound, meaningful moments of your life, but even in small, everyday things in your life. And here are some small things. It's why I included these examples. Playing the fool. What I mean by that is not being afraid, or maybe it's not being afraid. It's not about not feeling fear. It's about feeling the fear and doing that thing anyways. So asking questions is something that a lot of people are afraid to do. I am sometimes, because we are afraid of social judgment. Social judgment is, one of the ultimate fears of people. It's a common fear that everyone shares, kind of like fear of spiders. But, I would say death and social judgment are huge for people. So we fear that we don't want to ask, a question that may be perceived by others as silly or stupid, because everyone's going to point their fingers at us and laugh at us. But I would say that playing the part of the fool shows humility on your part, and you're not doing it for other people, you're doing it for yourself, because it's humility in that you are willing to be a student, to learn, to admit to you both others and to yourself, even more importantly, that you are not perfect, that there are things that you do not know about the world, and that you have a willingness and eagerness to learn about the world. So that does away with arrogance, and instead you're opening yourself up to humility, and in doing that, opening yourself up to the chance for other people to teach you things that you don't know. Playing the part of the fool is not easy, but I would say that it is easier and more helpful than never asking the question, than never trying to learn the lesson, and then ending up living a much harder life because of that. But if you can play the part of the fool, learn to become humble in those moments, I think it will save you a lot of pain and suffering down the road. Courage and justice, we talked about that already with number 3, so I will move on to the truth. Telling the truth is, everyone knows that being honest, an honest person, and learning to tell the truth is something that parents instill in their children from an early age, and it's something that we are taught is a good, virtuous thing to do. But it's also a very scary thing to do at times, especially when telling the truth could put you into a very unfortunate situation, when it could really mess up your life even. That's when it makes it difficult to convince yourself, this is the right thing to do, I got to do this. It's not so easy when the lines are blurred, when it's not, because not everything is so black and white in life. It's actually many shades of gray. So if that's the case, telling the truth is not easy. I do believe it's the right thing to do, but that takes a lot of courage. It takes courage to try and convince yourself of that, and then also to go ahead and carry out the act of telling the truth, which may put yourself into a very uncomfortable, difficult situation, which may have a lot of people start to judge you and look at you differently in your life. Telling the truth is, of course, the right thing to do. It is the morally virtuous thing to do, but it comes with a price, and it's very scary to do. So when I talk about big and small, you could say telling the truth is small objectively, but subjectively, how it feels to you, it's huge. And I think it's a very important thing, a very profound thing, very meaningful thing for you to do. But it comes at a price, because it's very scary and very risky as well. Telling the truth can be sometimes. So those are the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. And how I said that I believe that wisdom is the foundation, or you could say underpins all of the other virtues. Or perhaps maybe you could say that courage is, or maybe you could say justice is. Maybe there's an argument to be said for that. Courage, perhaps it's you need courage to learn from your mistakes, to become wise. You need courage to show moderation and self-restraint, and you need courage to pass fair judgment and punishments. Maybe you can play around with those and kind of figure out for yourself, or you could view them all as equal importance, which I would say they are. those are the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism and what they mean to me. And of course, for this series on my channel here, a lot of these things I'm also going to include my opinions of them as well. But these are the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. Hopefully you learned a lot from this, guys. Got a lot of value out of this. And these virtues can help you in your life. You can try and what would you say, implement these practices into your own life, and hopefully you can benefit from them. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe for more content in the future, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.